Welcome to my channel, the Religious Investors Forum, and thank you, those of you who have subscribed to this channel. I now have a small band of subscribers that is growing. I want to thank you, and I also want to thank the entire TAR of this channel. What do I mean by TAR? In the stock market, we use TAM, total addressable market of a company, to analyze the viability of that company. So I'm rebranding that term and using it as TAR for the total addressable audience of my channel. And that includes basically the individuals who have religious concerns about investing in the stock market. I want to help them answer their questions. It also includes those of us who may feel or think that we are poor or we have limited resources and that the stock market is for the rich. I want to help them get over that erroneous thought. It also includes individuals who are actively investing or passively investing. Actively investing, that they are handling the process by themselves, or they are passively investing through ETFs, and some of those who have their money in the stock market through their employment scheme, all kind of things that's going on there. If they are interested in verifying the kind of investments that they are doing or that's been done for them and see how religious compliant they are, I want to help those people as well. And finally, I want to be able to be there for those of us who are interested in relating the scripture to different industries and different sectors of the economy, and see how much our scriptures, the Quran, the Hebrew Bible, the Torah, the Gospel, how much these scriptures actually offer us in terms of developing a business attitude to life. So that's about that. The topic of this presentation is going to be Ford, the well-known automotive company, Ford. So I structure it as Ford, and in brackets I have found on the road dead/driving, and at the close of the bracket I put a comma and then say my lender, and then I put a dash, an investment opportunity. So it is about Ford as a company and as a stock in the stock market, and also the idea that it could have been my lender, and then evaluation of Ford stock as an investable stock. So let's get into it, and then I will close off or round off with a scriptural reflection as usual. So talking about Ford, there's a lot, we can say a lot. Ford is a centenarian company. In the 1920s, in the early 1920s, more than 100 years ago, Ford invented the assembly line that revolutionized the production of or manufacturing of cars. And Ford has a lot of products, and I have the privilege of preview to knowing the variety of Ford products, Ford automobile cars, minivans, SUVs, trucks, and in fact, heavy-duty work trucks. I have the opportunity to ride a couple of Ford. I love Ford Taurus especially, and Ford Explorer. And through my relationship or association, I have seen, Ford products with transporters, like the people that pick you up for airport drop-off. I've seen it through my work. A lot of our corporations and government offices, they have fleet of cars, of trucks that will mainly be composed of Ford products, GM products, etc. So, and then Ford is also an international automobile product. You find it in Africa, you find it in Europe, in Asia, in the Middle East, and of course in its home base here in America. We love Ford. It's not a political statement. Whether you are Democrat or Republican or independent like myself, I think our love for Ford products is kind of equal. And let me close this off by mentioning that we all love to ride F-15. F-15 is one of those fancy, crazy products by Ford that we all really would like to have. And that's not going to change in the immediate future, God willing. So that's about introducing the company as itself. So let's go to the second segment of this topic, which is about Ford being my lender. And I want you to pay real good attention here. I started investing in Ford perhaps late in the year 2020. What was going on at that time? There was so much public debate or discussion about the EV, and companies like Ford and GM, they were showing up as possible competitors to Tesla, and they were also responding to the public interest in EV, in electric vehicle. At the same time, they were also being pushed or being encouraged to do that by the government at that time that was favorable to EV projects. So a lot was going on at that time. But there was also another thing that got me interested, and that was that as Ford was trying to pivot to electric vehicle production, they also had a restructuring of their company and of their stock, of their business. And so the price per share of Ford stock was around $7 at that time. And I was so kind of curious, because when you look at the prices of the stocks of Toyota Motors, GM, Honda, they were in the 20s or 30s or even 40s. So I said, okay, maybe this could be an opportunity for a young investor like me to get in. So I bought a couple of shares. And by the mid of 2021, the price has risen to about $12-16. And as of that time, my average cost would have been about $8. And I still kept buying until the end of 2021. And by the end of 2021, the stock price was approaching $18 or $20. And by early 2022, it was in the range of $22, $24. So I was in profit, even despite the fact that my average cost per price has been reduced by me keeping by. But I did have good information and good projection of what the price is likely to be in that kind of environment. So, but early in 2022, I needed money, and I decided to sell a bunch of my shares, of course, at profit. But I was hoping that I could buy them back before the price runs up a lot. So, and as it would happen for me, by the mid of 2022, the environment, the economic environment had changed completely. You remember everything that happened in 2022. Most notably, that's when the war in Ukraine started. Most notably, that's when we began to see the inflation, inflation rising, and the Fed coming in or stepping in to stem it out or to fight it. And that led to the introduction of the quantitative tightening, whereby interest rates started to be raised, and as part of the process of fighting inflation, until it got raised to the elevated level at which it is now. So what happened then that worked to my favor was that if I wanted to buy back my shares, I will be buying them back at a cheaper price. So if you imagine yourself taking a loan or lending yourself money, and you are going to be paying back not with interest, but paying back with lesser amount for what you actually got. That kind of thrilled me. And so, and up till now, in between 23 and 24, it spiked up a little bit, but it went back down, and it's still now in the range of $10, $11. It's actually projected to be range band between 11, 12, 50 for the next 12 months, if you take the analysts seriously and if you trust them. So, but what makes me keep buying? It's because I have I'm informed and enlightened. I know some of the reasons why the stock will remain range band or will remain at that low level. But when things turn around, when things change, we are still likely to see false stocks spike up again. And that's what I'm going to discuss later. So as far as the expectation that there will be improvement in the stock price, or the stock price will rise, let me discuss a few things about what we call in the stock market analysis the headwinds, which are negative things that can impact a business or impact the stock price and cause it to dip or fall or even lose its value entirely. And we also talk about the tailwinds, which are which are positive catalysts that can cause the stock price to go up. So I'll discuss a few of these. Perhaps I just need to discuss the positive catalyst. One of the major positive catalysts that we are expecting is the reversal of the interest rate that is going to happen, that is so much due. You've heard our president pressuring Chairman Jerome Powell to start lowering interest rate. So the Fed is actually not going to have a choice. And we're going to probably have a interest rate cut sometime in the later part of this year, and it will start. And if we can go as far as the president actually desires, i.e. we have a zero interest on borrowing, that would be good for all of us. But I know it's not economically, based on the kind of system that we are running, it's not going to work. But it works for the big money, because all of our big money and big businesses, do you know where they make their money? From borrowing. And if they can borrow, if they can borrow without interest, that's a big thing for them. So I'm going to not talk too much about that, because that's actually pure economics rather than politics. So another catalyst that is likely to cause the price to rise is the fact that a lot of us, we have pent up demand for cars, and in the past 3-4 years that's not happening. And as soon as interest rates come to be cut, and as soon as we got a relief in the economic, and we are good with the control of inflation, like the housing market, the automobile market too is going to surge, is going to spike. I know that for a fact. Another catalyst that's likely to also play to the positively for Ford is the fact that they are also producing electric vehicle now. They are kind of, at a crossroad between keeping their old version high CB production line open and intact, and pivoting to EV. And I think, like Toyota Motors, they are now thinking about hybrid as a solution, or they are waiting for the return of the sentiments in favor of electric vehicle, which is something political that I really don't want to get into. I would have loved for our government to realize that EV is the future of automobiles, and that China has so far outpaced us in this activity, and it's not a good idea to politicize it. But I understand that you want to balance between the interest of Chevron, of Total Energy, and all of those old energy companies, and the new energy. I think you want to balance between the two. That's just my own thought. So there's going to be a better future, better time, better environment for Ford, God willing. And that's why we are betting on when I decide to continue to buy back my shares or invest at this level, because it's very likely that the price is going to go up, and go up very reasonably or significantly, or double within the next 1 to 2 or 3 years for Ford. So let me try to close this with a reflection from the scripture. I'm going to take my reflection from the scripture from Quran 1770 and from Quran 1680. In Quran 1770, after seeking protection from God from the accursed devil, God states that he has honored the children of Adam, and he has given them the means of transportation to travel on the land and travel by this on the sea, and to travel on sea. So the means by which we are able to do this started with the animals that God gave us naturally, the horse, the mule, the donkey, and by which we were able to develop trade caravans, and horse, and all those animals that are described as the beasts of burden. And then we began to have a horse-driven carriage, and we began to put things together to create a machine to power that, to drive those vehicles. And now companies like Ford took that further, took it to the industrial age, and gave us all these type of automobiles that we have. And then this is in fact a honor and a gift from God. And this is a direct invitation for us to recognize that transportation is essential for our life, for our economy, for our well-being. And also, it's also indirect invitation for us to invest in it, to develop our transportation systems and to use them effectively. And when we realize that a particular method of using it is causing harm to our environment, then God is going to guide us to a better way of doing things. And that's what I think, I understand the electric vehicle thing outside of the capitalist project and outside of the political movement that has come to be associated with it. And in the verse of 16:8, God specifically mentioned that وَالْخَيْلَ وَالْبِغَالَ وَالْحَمِيرَ لِتَرْكَبُوهَا وَزِينَةً, that we also don't acquire means of transportation for their efficiency and efficacy and their ability to help us get the work done alone, but also for ornamentation. So what I'm trying to say here is that if you can afford a Tesla, that's good for you. That's a means of transportation and a class, a kind of a status. But if you can afford a Tesla, you probably can afford one of those Ford models that are good. As for me, I get my cars from a cheaper avenues like auctions or police impoundment, or from Craigslist when Craigslist used to be the game, or from any other sources where you can get your car for half price or even lower. So the scriptural reflection is going to be very brief. Otherwise, I really have a lot of thoughts about what does it entail when God says, وَحَمَلْنَاهُمْ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ. That's a loaded phrase or sentence, but we're not going to get into too much detail about that now. Thank you very much, and I encourage you to subscribe to the channel, to hit the bell notification, and to share with me your thoughts as well. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.